We would like to show you how to install the model MagFlow 6415. MagFlow 6415 will be delivered in either a wooden crate or a carton box. The MagFlow 6415 is securely packed for transportation. As you open the box, inside you will find a documentation package which contains the installation manual and a quick start guide, and also the calibration certificate. The MagFlow 6415 is shipped fully assembled and ready for installation into your piping. Important handling instructions. Do not lift the flow meter by the top mounted transmitter in case of an integral type flow meter. Do not lift the flow tube by the top mounted junction box in case of a remote type flow meter. Do not lift flow tube by its casing. Always lift the flow meter of size DN200 and above using the eye bolts. Always rest the flow meter only in its upright position on the pedestals provided and not on its casing. Do not drag the flow tube with its lining facing the ground. This will damage the lining. Do not roll the flow tube over its flanges. This will damage the flanges and also transmitter or the junction box if it hits the ground on rolling. Do's. The flow tube must be full of liquid to avoid erratic measurement results. Ensure straight pipe lengths on either ends of the flow tube, 5 times pipe diameter length of piping upstream and 3 times pipe diameter downstream from the center of the flow tube. The flow tube may be installed in horizontal pipelines, preferably with a slight upward gradient in the direction of flow. The piping layout must prevent any buildup of air. Any entrained air should be carried out of the flow tube by the liquid flow. Ensure that installation location is such that water or moisture does not enter the electrical terminations area. If the connecting pipeline is not electrically conducting or is lined with insulating material, strap the grounding rings to the flow tube flanges at either end. In the case of an integral type flow meter, the transmitter comes pre-mounted atop the flow tube and therefore gets physically installed along with the flow tube. However, in the case of a remote type flow meter, a junction box comes pre-mounted atop the flow tube. The coil and electrodes cable is delivered by connecting it to the junction box. The transmitter along with its mounting bracket is delivered separately. The integral transmitter has IP65 protection, which should be installed above ground in secured location. In case of underground installation, the flow meter should have a remote type of transmitter. The signal and coil cables connecting the transmitter and flow tube are sensitive to electrical noise. It should be ensured that such cables are passed through the metal conduits, which are separated from conduits carrying HT and LT power cables. For tightening of the flange bolts. Apply a thin layer of fresh industrial grease to the threads of the bolts prior to tightening. Tighten all the mounting bolts uniformly without under or over tightening of any of the bolts. Tighten the bolts in a cross sequence as per the flange sizes. Use an appropriate torque wrench. During the first pass, tighten to approximately 50%, during the second pass to approximately 80%, and only during the third pass to 100% of the maximum torque. Once the flow tube has been mounted, fill the pipeline gradually with water and confirm that the entire mounting is leak-free. If even minor leaks are noticed, check the axial alignment of the flow tube with the upstream and downstream pipe lengths, cleanliness of gasket, the rating of gasket material, and proper tightening of the bolts. After eliminating the leakages, allow the process liquid to pass through the pipeline. Don'ts. Never install the flow tube that will cause it to remain empty. Even partial flow should be avoided. Pipeline layout should be modified in such a way that flow tube will always remain in full bore condition with water. Never install the flow tube in vertical pipelines with the liquid flow in the downward direction. Do not install a flow meter in close proximity to heavy electrical equipment, power transformers, HT and LT power cables, and sources of powerful electromagnetic radiation. Optional but desirable. Flow meters of sizes up to DN300 generally require factory calibration, so a bypass arrangement can be provided for easy removal and reinstallation. For flow meters installed at outdoor locations or underground pipelines, suitable size chambers can be constructed around the flow tube for safety and for easy maintenance. At such installations, flow meter can be provided with a dismantling joint